I'm extremely pleased to welcome you to this very exciting two-day BioAsia event.
The city of Hyderabad was host to BioAsia 2016, considered Asia's largest biotechnology and life sciences forum. In its 13th year now, the event brought together stakeholders from around the world, industry leaders, academicians, investors, to engage on issues at the forefront of the biotechnology and life sciences industry. The government of Telangana promised the industry its full support.
It is noteworthy that India is among the top 6 producers of pharmaceuticals in the world. Coming to the state of Telangana, Hyderabad is the pharma capital of India. As the 40% of pharma production is contributed by Hyderabad, the Genome Valley and the outskirts of Hyderabad city is the India's largest systematically developed biotechnology cluster.
This is indeed very exciting times for us, where we feel that the industry leaders who have gathered here, based on your guidance and advice, we will plan the entire pharma city in a manner that it becomes the capital for APIs and formulations for the country and for the region.
13 land approvals for biotech and pharmaceutical companies were announced at the forum. A 3D walkthrough of the proposed pharma city in Telangana was also unveiled. It aims to generate 1.5 lakh direct employment and up to 5 lakh indirect employment opportunities. The partner country for BioAsia 2016 was Norway. Spain and South Africa were associate partner countries.
The Embassy and Innovation Norway are assisting Norwegian healthcare companies, startups and entrepreneurs to develop a better understanding of the Indian market and its business opportunities. We have guided startups to find business partners and customers in India and facilitated networks and closer ties between businesses. We are eager to assist you in developing new partnerships between Norway and India and encourage you to get to know each other.
Particularly relevant to this forum is the Program for Technology Cooperation in the field of biotechnology signed in 2011 between Spain and India in the field of biotechnology. As a result of the implementation of this program, 20 joint proposals between Spain and India have been submitted for evaluation, out of which 8 bilateral projects have been considered eligible for funding, representing a total budget of 5 million euros.
The inaugural ceremony also saw Nobel laureate Professor Ada Yonath of the Weizmann Institute Israel being honored with the Genome Valley Excellence Award 2016. Professor Yonath talked about her Indian connection.
Ramachandran was trying to understand the structure of a protein called collagen. And at the same time, there was an effort just started in Israel. There was a young student there that started to work on it, and her first day, was shown 3 days later in Madras, what is now Chennai, in a conference that was organized by Ramachandran. He was aware of it and started contact with the supervisor of this student and with the student herself. Young student just starting and big GM Ramachandran. Let me just tell you, the young student is me. Thank you.
On the business side, MOUs and investments of close to 1,000 crore rupees were announced at the forum. Delegates from over 50 countries participated in events held over 3 days. Seeking partnerships was on top of the agenda.
What we're trying to bring to fore is the terrific pool of talent, the opportunities, and the ability to address all the diseases that are a challenge to mankind in general and to Asia in particular, to bring solutions and improve the quality of life of the patients.
I really think what can stand out even stronger is have more connections between academia and industry, have some catalyst to really fertilize the translational piece of original research into industry application. And those catalysts can be the retired pharmaceutical professionals, can be biotech executives.
BioAsia 2016 was host to a riveting startup showcase program where startups from the healthcare and innovation sector were featured. Dr. Premanandini Sadgunam from the LV Prasad Eye Institute was awarded the BioAsia 2016 Innovation Award. At the session, Hyderabad-based T-Hub, the country's largest incubator, also announced the launch of its first accelerator program in health tech.
I tend to think of T-Hub as an API, an API that allows functional expertise, and that expertise could be go-to-market, product market fit, market validation, revenue validation, product validation, you name it, and that's exactly what the role of a startup incubator ought to be. And that's exactly what we're trying to fulfill.
BioAsia 2016, held in Telangana's capital city Hyderabad, was host to stakeholders in biotechnology and life sciences from around the world. The forum provided a platform to engage in topics at the cutting edge of the industry. The session on biosimilars was one such interaction.
If you need to see biosimilars, as estimated, is going to be having a large, huge growth globally and in India. From 1.3 billion a few years back, it is going to be 35 billion globally. In India, it can move from 600 million to about 1500 million, which is about 20% CAGR. They say globally 70% of chemical drugs will be replaced by biosimilars in next 2 decades. So these are all the kind of expectations and postulations which are being done by people. That is what is going to happen. So I would take my seat and I would request Dr. Zadav to start.
Today, globally, the Indian vaccine manufacturers are supplying almost 80% of the requirement of the UN agencies, that is the UNICEF and FAO. So if India can achieve this in the field of vaccine, which is almost identical to the biosimilars, I am quite optimistic that in future also, in this field of biosimilars, we can definitely have our mark in coming years. Of course, there will be challenges. When you are looking out globally to have a market, you cannot just look at the regulations of what Government of India wants. You have to also look into the regulations what are required if you want to export your products.
Ajay, if you have got into this field, I am sure you would have had plans and you would have seen opportunities. So what do you see from your point of view, biosimilars, opportunities and challenges?
The new drugs which are being developed are all in the biological area, quite a large number of them, and they are also the most expensive drugs. So the big challenge is how do you make affordable biologicals for the Indian population? And for that, of course, we have to have regulations which allow us to do this in a quicker way. Please remember that some of these guidelines which we also follow now in India were formulated maybe 25, 30 years ago in developed countries. And since then the techniques, the identification, the physico-chemical characterization of products and the technologies to do that have moved a lot. So maybe if we want to make drugs affordable, the pathways to allowing these drugs to be approved in India have to be simplified.
So Gopal, if I come to you, from the MNC point of view, what do you see as the opportunities for you in India and using India as a hub for biosimilars for your other markets?
If you want to develop, biosimilars at an affordable cost, as I think we all want to do that. When I think about it, I think it's very clear to me that the only way we can do that is if we invest upfront in R&D and do rigorous science to develop very strong data packages to go to the regulators and ask for reduction in clinical trials.
Prabhu, from your point of view, what do you see as the opportunity for companies like yours? And how do you see the ecosystem for you to prosper and do service which you wish to do?
Smaller companies should form collaborations with larger companies where they become the hub and spoke model, where they take a piece of the work, apply innovation, do it cost effectively. I will hesitate to use the word cheaply, to make best use of the resources, given a task, cut that pie out, deliver, and then move on to greater glory. The next thing we need is good manpower, good ideas, and the funds to back it.
Satkani, what is your view about globally, what do you see as opportunities for biosimilars? Will it get its place of glory sooner than later?
The two major aspects that biosimilars companies, especially the pharma companies moving into the biosimilars landscape, have to answer is one, where to play, and two, how to play. The where to play question is probably well answered because the value comes out of the countries such as US, the 5 EU countries, Australia, Canada, and Japan. But these are also very, very highly regulated countries to push a biosimilar into. Now that leaves two other domains on where to play. One is BRICS, which is where India is. BRICS and India, for example, has a huge consumption potential of biosimilars. The third domain, I would call it as MIST, which is Mexico, Indonesia, South Korea, and Turkey kind of countries, which are quickly and rapidly adopting the EMA guidelines. So how to play is very important for biosimilars companies going forward. Now these regulatory agencies, when you put a biosimilar into the market or when you put a biosimilar into the patient, they look for totality of evidence. There is a residual uncertainty at every stage of developing a biosimilar. So the best way to playing in these regulated markets with the regulators is at every stage of your development, you can go and have guidance sought from the regulatory agencies saying that, look, I am here at this stage of development with my molecule. Is there any residual uncertainty in the biosimilar that I am developing? If it is so, how do I navigate through it? These are my action items.
It is a new science which we are all learning. So basically we need to understand the whole gamut of development and quality of biological products. So that was the first challenge. The second challenge was regarding doing clinical studies to prove that the biologicals we produce are equivalent to what is available in the world. The third challenge we faced was obviously that the process of approval is a very lengthy and long process. So that's the third challenge. I hope that in the ease of doing business, this will become simplified and we would be able to see more biosimilars coming to Indian market.
BioAsia 2016 is regarded as Asia's largest biotechnology and life sciences forum. The event hosts the annual CEO conclave where industry leaders come together to interact and share their ideas. This year's theme was Make in India.
Let me quickly begin perhaps with you, Pankaj Bhai, in terms of the entire Make in India campaign. Where do you think India has a competitive advantage? What should we be focusing on as an industry?
If we want to really be successful in biotechnology industry, we need to really find out one-line regulations. Today, if we have certain advantage in terms of globally known as a large pool of scientifically trained manpower, lower cost of capital investment in India to set up a manufacturing facility, etc. The disadvantage is that there is a long period for approval.
So since we are talking of regulations, if I could bring you in, Dr. Sharma, the government of Telangana has taken a number of initiatives. Your I-Pass is one of them.
We came up with a policy known as TS I-Pass, which essentially means that we should give approvals to the investment proposals in a time-bound manner, and maximum time that is taken is 21 days. And after the launch of this policy, which was some 6 months back, Already we cleared more than 82 approvals.
Rogerio, in your position, GSK being its size, and you have a vast array of options to consider. So could you share with us in terms of what's the criteria that you look at in coming to that? And of course, I can't escape asking you, where does India come in that map?
I can tell you that I have responsibility for over 100 countries across emerging markets. And India comes as the first, number one, from a strategic point of view. Quality of the people, the quality of scientists and professionals, all the ingredients to really produce something really special. We're looking at predictability, we're looking at transparency, we're looking at a framework which is consistent with international standards. We try to obviously avoid bureaucracy without compromising safety and efficacy of the medicines that are dispensed in the country. I think this is probably the most important element.
Thank you. Rajiv, when we talk about Make in India, there's also this debate, or the question is being raised that, sure, Make in India is a great slogan and a great program to follow, but does Make in India, or should Make in India be preceded by Innovate in India? Your thoughts?
I always use this statistic. 1 in 10 tablets used by Americans is made by an Indian company or a global company having manufacturing base in India. So that's the power of Make in India. But also there is development. Huge global companies are putting lots and lots and increased investment in developing, innovating, creating a research environment. And finally, I think there is a beginning. Cadila Pharmaceuticals happens to be just one of the leaders, but we have 5 innovations, and there are a lot of other companies which have followed. So I think this era, the next decade, is not only make, develop, but also innovate, especially for the biopharmacy, because of the vast ecosystem.
Unfortunately, youngsters in life sciences have not received their fair share of support, and the only institution that has to a degree supported them has been yours, which is BioAsia. Whilst all the IT startups and the e-commerce companies have got their share of funding, could you tell us about what BioAsia is doing for startups and the role of startups in the entire program?
When we looked at it, we realized that the innovations are really going to come from the academia, because that's really where a lot of research is happening, and young startups. We now have financial resources that we make available to our startups right from an idea. I think that's the only government scheme which invests on an idea of an individual. We've also focused a lot on trying to see how we could provide the mentorship and training to these startups, because if you just give them the finances for an idea, they're not going to be able to take it into an enterprise or take it forward.
If you were to switch gears and, really the medical devices sector is looked at as the champion for the Make in India. It's almost like the Make in India campaign has been written for the medical devices sector. However, having said that, 70% of devices are imported, right? Do you see that changing?
I would like to take this opportunity to really applaud the government that it has identified medical devices and technology as a sunrise sector, and the 100% FDI and other things which are happening. And I understand since the announcement about 540 crores, keeping the size of the industry in mind, which is a small industry, which is about $4 billion. So 540 crores worth of investments, the FDI route has happened in India. I think it is important to get the academics, the academicians, along with the industry, the government and other stakeholders together, and start innovating first, and then maybe take the next step towards manufacturing. At this stage, one more important factor that the government needs to address is that how to make healthcare really accessible to more and more people, so that medical devices can be used in order to, in different therapies and treatments. So the market size becomes much, much bigger.
Dr. Swaroop talked about the ecosystem, Pankaj Bhai, and the elements thereof, if you look at it, is enterprise, the government, the academia. But, if you could elaborate on the role of what the industry needs to do in terms of human resources.
One of the things which I have realized is that people start without assessing the demand. So education programs are started across, but they don't assess actually what is required. So I think more quality, if is regulated, then it's done. As an industry, we can only do something like partnering with colleges to really create our own training university, which will train the people for us, using the existing infrastructure of colleges around the plants where we are located.
focus. Ideate, innovate, enable.